Hey everyone, welcome back to another episode of We Should Talk. This week, Amber and I are diving deep into female friendships and how our own attachment wounds impact how we have personally experienced our own female friendships. There is something for everybody in this episode that we know you're going to relate to. And we end today's episode talking about how music impacts us, especially one of our favorites, Kahan. So get your iced coffee ready and join us for another great episode of We Should Talk.
Hello. How are you doing today?
I'm doing okay. We're meeting on a different day today. We usually record on Thursdays. We're meeting on a Monday. So I feel like we're both, I think, coming off of really busy mornings and afternoons.
Yeah.
So just grounding into this space.
Yeah, I love that idea of grounding into the space. Yeah, I think we just need to I do feel like being in on a Monday just feels different for me. I'm not normally in on a Monday as a therapist, so I don't regularly see clients. And so I feel like I usually just kind of ease into my week and we're just coming in hot right now. So yeah.
Yep.
But I love that we're both here and we're ready. Yeah. And yeah, my weekend has been really good and just really full. My family's still here and my brother actually just left on Sunday. So yesterday, which was hard, but my nieces are still here. So we're keeping them for the next couple weeks and just going to have lots of cousin time and stuff. So yeah, but it was a absolute shit show trying to get ready for work today, like 5 kids deep.
Oh my God, yes. I can only imagine.
I don't know how.
5 kids, 3 dogs, 2 in-laws. Right.
Oh my gosh. I only have 2 dogs, Megan. Okay.
2 dogs. Sorry, I added an extra dog.
Might as well just throw an extra one in there, right? No, yeah. Yeah, it was wild. And my husband was working. So it was just super chaotic trying to get out the door. And then I just feel like as soon as I got in, I just hit the ground running. So I've just been kind of like going. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Mm-hmm. But something cool that I just did right now, right before we got on the podcast, which is, I think I'm still feeling a little bit of nerves over, was I met with Stephanie Fu, the author of What My Bones Know. Yes. I don't think I've told you this. Did I tell you I was taking a writing class with her?
You did, actually. You did.
Yes.
A while back. Wow. Oh,
yeah.
So cool.
So as a part of her writing class, she gave you an option to have a personal meeting with her and she would edit a chapter of your book. And so I wrote a chapter for the next book that I want to write and had her edit it. And so we just met and talked about that. And so I'm just kind of like in this weird, I feel sweaty and just, I was really nervous, but then also in this dream, oh my gosh, is this my life right now? I just met with Stephanie Fu and she was just so awesome. And the meeting went so much better than I could have anticipated.
I'm so glad to hear it. That's so exciting.
Yeah, it was so exciting.
And how vulnerable, right? I know this feeling of having someone like her, again, who's, for those that don't know, Stephanie Fu wrote the book, What My Bones Know, really powerful book. She's incredible. And so to have her read your words, that's really vulnerable.
Oh my gosh. So freaking vulnerable.
For the future book, right? Wow.
Exactly.
And I'm so curious, how did you feel receiving her feedback? How are you feeling about the chapter? I'm curious, how are you feeling about all of that?
Overall, I think my general vibe is really hopeful. And I think you're catching me on this a little bit of a downgrade, I guess, of like maybe my nervous system, like it was like up here. As you asked me that, I just feel like really proud of myself that I even took the steps to do that, and it was super vulnerable. And I did have the worst imposter syndrome going on. I was just like, who do I think I am? Why did I write fucking so much in the book? In this chapter, I was trying to be like way too relatable. No, but then just so kind of that bounce back and forth. I'm sure you've experienced this writing your book, but just this feeling of like imposter syndrome and my inner critic being super loud. And then also this motherly part of me that's just like, whoa, like,
You
you
did
did it.
it.
You did it. I'm so
Yes.
proud of you. You're so brave. Even if it
Yes.
sucked, you still took the chance and freaking had her read this and met with her. And then this other part, who you even think you are? What are you doing? You're an embarrassment. And then this other part's just, so I just feel like all my parts right now are
They're
just
all
so,
talking.
yeah,
Right.
yeah,
And I love it. Like, this is such a great real life example of what it means to be like interacting with all of your parts at the same time. That here you are literally reparenting yourself, soothing and cheering yourself on. And it's okay that it exists alongside the part, the inner critic part that's really loud too. Like,
yeah,
that they're both present. We're aware of them. And you showed up, right? You did it. You moved through it. And like, I
yeah,
love that it's so clear that your felt experience, that it was such a high, obviously, it sounds like a really positive relational experience, which, not surprised. And, but yeah, like how brave and vulnerable. And, oh, does it make you
Mhm.
feel more excited to continue on in writing this book?
Yeah, it does.
Yeah.
I feel like when I first started my workbook, writing my workbook, I
Mm-hmm.
was just like, I don't even know if I'm cut out to be an author. Who really that inner critic too. Who do I even think I am? Is
Yeah.
this even a dream I have? I don't know. I don't even
Yeah.
care about this. But because I think that I'm like, once again, like that's where I'll go to feeling too much to like just numb.
Oh,
And
yeah.
so oscillating between those two things. And I think as I wrote the workbook and just getting the feedback from my editor and doing it and
Mm-hmm.
finishing it, I've just felt really hopeful. But the thing about the workbook was it was more designed to be about a specific topic. And so I had to write about that specific topic. And when I sat down to write this chapter, it was like my voice and it was
Your
like what I
story.
wanted. And I actually just got so amped up of, whoa, I'm going to do this.
Right.
And I
Oh.
actually feel really excited about it. And I think it's going to be really authentic and really helpful and the best of both worlds as far as clinician and
Uh-huh.
mother and
Yes.
which I feel like those
Uh-huh.
two worlds don't often collide. So yeah, so
Yeah.
I'm feeling really excited.
Oh, I love it. Oh, this is so exciting. And obviously, like, it's showing this is it. This is right. This is aligned. This is so good. And it's so
Yeah.
nice. Like, it's so cool to hear that. And I'm thinking of, I was so struck by what you shared this weekend. Like, you did this post and this, of like, what was it, 9-year-old you? Like,
Yeah, my
9. Oh,
emotional masking post.
my God, you as the
Yes.
little bridesmaid. I'm like, oh my God, that's Amber, right? Like, it looks you. Like, obviously
Yeah.
it's you, but I'm like, oh, that look just like just seeing little you in that picture, and like your voice coming through and sharing the story while teaching, right? Obviously teaching the concept. It was so powerful, intertwined together, and I
Yes.
know that it resonated with so many too. And so, how exciting that here this is again another alignment of you sharing your voice, your story, teaching all these parts of you. Oh, I'm so excited for you.
Yeah, and it's so powerful when you step into that. I feel like you do that so well, and I think it's just such a gift to get to heal, well, because it's so healing at the same time. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Don't you think?
Right. Oh, totally.
Yeah,
So healing. And
yeah,
even like in our episode last week of sharing more, because I mean, and you've named it, right? Like, I haven't heard your story. I don't know about your story. And so even
yeah.
sharing that with you, and I still don't share about it on Instagram as much. You really don't know that it's coming in the book. And but like but
Yes.
even just that vulnerability of putting that out there, even as you're describing this vulnerability of meeting with her and her reading your words. I actually was at a brunch yesterday. I had my best friend put together like a little baby sprinkle for
Mm.
me and just some close friends, and my mom was there. And one of them asked my mom, "So have you read her book yet?" And mom was like, "No, I haven't." I'm like, "Yeah, nobody's read it except for my developmental editor and my editor. That is it. I have not let anybody else read it yet." But it speaks to, I'm obviously, there's a protective part of me coming up of like, nope, nobody gets to read it yet because it's too vulnerable.
Yes.
It
Oh
is
my
like
goodness,
too.
yes.
So you are continue to be inspiring to me of taking that leap and like just naming it, sharing it, putting it out there. And of course, there's so much healing in writing it. Definitely, it was so healing for me in writing it. And I know that this next part in the healing process for me is going to be this openly sharing it and knowing people are reading
Yeah.
it, and that's okay. Like, it's going to be fine.
Yes.
It's all good.
And
But
and it is hard and it is
yeah.
vulnerable at first.
Oh,
And yeah, I'm so excited for you to experience that. But I do think that it also is just so hard. So I'm curious, what came up for you after sharing last week? Did you notice anything for
Yeah.
yourself after the episode?
I think there's this part of me like in connection to the book. Am I allowed to share the story that I'm writing about that's coming out in the book? There's something weird, like some good girl part of me that's like, am I following the rules?
Am I going to get in trouble?
Like, am I gonna
Yeah.
get yes, am I gonna get in
Yeah.
trouble for like, sharing this part? But no, because actually you were so affirming. You're like, even hearing your story makes me want to read it more. I was like, right. That's why. Yeah, that's
Yes.
why it's
Yes.
okay to do it. And I think what comes up for me, which is totally a parallel with like how my family operates, is I think a feeling that's very old and historic of we're a family of we don't talk about things, right? And partially still don't sometimes. And so then it's like, ooh, am I saying too much? That is something which intellectually I know I'm not. Actually, this is what I want to be doing. This is how I'm teaching and sharing. It's aligned in the book, it's aligned in all these ways. But there's the inner child part of me that wonders,
Yeah.
is someone going to be mad that I'm talking about this? That totally comes up for me. And so that is the part that I have to tend to of nope. This is you're that you're at this moment because this is what there's an intention here, right? You're sharing this to relate, to teach. There is meaning and purpose in sharing. And that even if it wasn't to teach, it's actually you get to share your story with anybody, and that's okay because it's your story. So
Yes.
so it
Yeah.
is
But
this
I
kind
love,
of back and forth and
yes.
growth that's happening for sure.
Yeah. And just your nervous system and your trauma response of like, is this okay? Is
Uh-huh.
so 100% natural too. So being
Right.
able to tend to those
Yeah,
parts, so
totally.
important.
And this is only going to increase, right? Like as we get closer to the book coming out, it's like I'm gonna be talking about it more. So in a way, this is like such a
Yes.
great safe first step
Absolutely.
into that too. So yeah. But
Yeah. And what
yeah.
else has been going on for you this weekend?
Yeah, the sprinkle was the nice, like a really sweet. Again, I didn't. My best friend, she wanted to do it, and being this is my second son, I'm like, I don't need anything. We don't need to celebrate it. We don't. I'm good. I'm okay. But she's like, no, I want to celebrate you, especially like the journey and getting to this point. And so
Absolutely.
it was very sweet, very nice to be. Just again, like there's nothing better than being surrounded by good friends and obviously connecting over. We just went to brunch. I'm like, I just want us to go to brunch. That's what I want it to be. Like not a whole, huge thing, but we're just going to brunch and we can celebrate that way. And so it was exactly what I wanted and was really nice. So
That's
so
awesome.
that was nice. And then on Friday, I think Friday we had this outside of Chicago here. I don't know if it reached you guys, but like this air quality thing, like
Yeah.
oh,
It's been here.
it's
Yeah.
so bad. It was
The last like few days, it's been really bad air
yeah, really
quality. Has that
bad.
impacted you at all? Like being pregnant and stuff and already kind
You
of,
know, I
you
I'm definitely being like cautious and sensitive, and my husband has asthma and my son likely has asthma, we're pretty sure. So definitely cautious, but kind of kept a lot of indoor time. So which we've really enjoyed this summer of being able to be out and about. So we noticed that was hard for us, like even later in the day yesterday of like just having to kind of stay inside and not be able to go out and about like we liked. But I think this kind of brings up a lot of questions of, oof, like this is new, right? This kind of experience. We have not experienced this so much around here. I mean, I know in other areas
Mhm.
of the country for sure it's more normal, but scary, right? Like kind of scary of like, oh,
Yeah.
I don't love that this is a possibility. I know
Oh
there's so
my
many like
goodness.
joking
Yes.
reels things about how we, can't eat lettuce and berries and right can't go outside. Like what a
Mhm.
weird time it is right now.
Yeah. Yeah. And I
Yeah.
could imagine too, especially being pregnant, like getting ready to bring another child into the world, some anxieties may be coming up and just,
Mm-hmm.
at just the times that
Yeah.
we're in right now.
Yes, yes, indeed.
Mm.
Very stressful. So, but we're moving through, and as we do, right? Just kind of taking it,
Yeah.
noticing what's coming up, and then moving ahead. But has it impacted? I know you have your full house. Has it impacted you guys in terms of yeah? Because not sure what levels it has been over there.
So I think we just got into some levels that are you can be outside, but just take precautions.
Cautious. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I had seen the air quality warning and I honestly, I feel so bad saying this. So growing up in California, there were wildfires all the time.
Oh,
So I
yeah,
just think
right.
like air quality, like I never really think much about it. Like I'm like, oh, I
Sure.
was like my friend Mary Beth texted me like, oh, are you guys, this air quality is horrible. We're not going outside today. And I was like taking a run and I was like, oh, now that you
Oh,
mention it, like
whoops.
that's probably why this feels so bad right now. I can barely
Yes,
breathe. So I
right.
think I've gotten in some ways so spoiled. Just well, you
Yeah.
lived in New York City, so I'm sure they had like, did they have air quality stuff a lot or
No,
no?
not really.
Maybe
Not
because it's
really.
more of a wildfire thing. I think it's
Right.
usually that contributes to it. So I just
Mm-hmm.
we would have it often in Northern California,
Yeah,
especially because
makes
there would
sense.
always be those
Right.
wildfires.
Totally. Yeah.
So yeah, but if we have to stay inside, it's rough with
Mhm.
three freaking boys. Now
Yes.
two
Oh.
girls, two like the five of them,
Uh-huh.
I am like, we're taking our chances out
Yeah,
on those
we gotta go.
the freaking
Yeah.
bad air quality streets.
We
Take them
need
swimming, like
uh-huh. Yeah, need to get
yeah.
out of the house without a doubt.
Yes, yeah, but I think
Yeah.
it is scary. Just I threw away a bag. I almost took a chance on bagged Caesar salad today, but I was like, it's
Oh,
not even worth it. Like it
can't.
was Taylor Farms.
No.
I was like, I just can't. If
Oh,
it's
yeah.
not,
No. Right.
I'm not even that gangster. Like I'm not
Yeah.
gonna try this. I was like, I'm just gonna throw it away.
Yep. Smart. Very smart. And but so
Yes.
hard too. Because I'm like,
Yeah.
are we allowed to have berries yet? Like I'm pretty sure yes. But because my son, like we live on
I was
berries.
gonna ask. I bet he does.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah. So TBD on that. But we did on Saturday, there was a little reprieve from the air quality stuff. Like Friday was the worst. So we went to a local farm for it was a peach fest. And so
Oh,
while
that's
we were there,
fun.
yeah, it was very, very sweet, very cute. I was like, I'm going to stock up on my obviously peaches. We got some good strawberries. So we've been good for a little while.
That's
Yeah.
good. That's really, I bet you that was
Yeah.
fun too. Was it nice to go?
Yeah. Oh, it was very, very cute. For Michael, it was just a lot of like some little rides and slides and, snacks, and they had apple cider donuts out already. So we were happy. We were happy after that. Yeah. It was
Good.
good. Yeah.
Yes.
Good
Fun
stuff.
time.
So ups and
Okay.
downs all weekend, right?
Yeah. Yep.
But here we
Yes.
are. And I know this week we wanted to talk. We were talking about number one, like music and how music impacts us and how we feel seen and what music resonates with us, because that's a universal experience, especially for emotional processing, but also
Mm.
friendships, right? Friendships and how we move through friendships, especially with attachment wounds and what comes up there. And so I'm curious,
Yeah.
Amber, where do you want to begin?
So as you were talking about your sprinkle, I started getting really curious just about your friendships and your
Yeah.
best friend and what that has been like
Yeah.
for you. So if you don't mind just
Yeah.
sharing a little bit. So do you feel like you've always had really close friendships and that it's felt easy for you? Or do you feel like that's
Hmm.
been a challenge? Tell me a little bit
Hmm.
about
This is
that
such a
area
good
of your
question.
life.
Yeah, really good question. And it's one that I've been like sitting with, and we'll dive into. But for my personal experience, I've always been someone that has had a good group of friends. I and I think, well, so growing up, I'm very lucky. I feel like, again, I know how lucky I am in this, and that I have actually quite probably two best friends from we've known each other since we were 5, and we
Oh,
all were
that's
all
so
very close and very connected. Just so grateful. Went out to dinner like last week for one of their birthdays, and in her card I wrote, "Oh my god, I can't believe we've been literally have been friends for 30 years already," and
oh.
just how grateful to have them in that. And then I have really good my college roommate, my freshman roommate. She's my maid of honor, and she's the one that threw the sprinkle. And we've been, I mean, so grateful too. We grew up in the same area of outside of Chicago, and then happened to have a mutual friend that connected us, and that's how we became roommates. And
Mhm.
we both went to New York for school, and
Oh
then
my
lived
gosh,
together.
that's amazing.
Yeah, we lived together after college, and in a very cool, we always call it the friends apartment. It was a unicorn apartment that we got to live in together. And then we live literally both back in Chicagoland, but 8 minutes away from each other and she has 3 kids, 2 boys and a girl. And obviously we'll have 2 boys. Feel very lucky that we've gotten to live these chapters together and still live so close to one another. So I think maybe the good girl people pleaser in me, I've always been good at fitting in with a group of people, right? Always been good at, okay, how can I be the best friend that I can be? How can I show up for everybody? And of course I know that is probably what's contributed to having really long-standing friendships and relationships. But friendships were always a good source of support for me, and I feel very grateful for that. And I think part of it too is maybe my mom modeled having good long-term friendships. And so I think there's something in that was helpful. Where I definitely struggled more was in romantic relationships prior to meeting my husband. I think that was the bigger attachment wound issue for me. But yeah, that's been my experience there. And of course, I've definitely grown a lot in friendships in terms of being able to like work on them and say, this is how I feel. And this is what's happening for me. That was always terrifying for me for so long, of like, I would just not talk about what I felt.
If something was bothering you,
yeah.
you wouldn't talk about that.
Not at all. Would like just totally take it in and just figure out how can I make it better. So yeah, that's kind of been my experience. And I have some other couple really good friends from college who actually quite a few where we keep in touch via Marco Polo if we all don't live in the same space. So friendships and that connection is just, always been a really source of grounding and support on this end. So,
and do you feel like there was something that you did or that has helped you have these long-term friendships? What do you feel like is something that you've noticed that you either needed to have or you've needed to do in order to have such long-term friendships? Because I think the way it sounds as you talk about it, it sounds somewhat easy, but I think being friends with someone throughout different seasons, I think is something that a lot of people have a lot of challenges with. And especially if you think about starting as a friend at 5 years old, right?
Yeah.
All those life transitions that you go through, I think what you're naming is actually incredibly rare. So I think I want to just know from you, what do you feel has helped you maintain these friendships?
Such a good question. And you're right. I'm very aware that it is very rare. And if I'm thinking of myself, I think it is a commitment to connection, right? A commitment to staying in touch, especially let's say my friends that I've been friends with since I was 5. We didn't go to the same high school. I went to a different high school than them. Obviously I went to a different college than them. There have been moments where we just haven't been together, but we've always made it such a priority to spend time together. Like whether it was in high school, we would hang out obviously on the weekends, and we were all committed to that. I think many friend groups you could easily fall into, well, like, you don't go to school with us, so like you're not a part of this. I remember I was actually in their school's yearbook because I went to
what? Oh, because you would go to their dances and stuff, or just their activities? Okay. Oh my gosh, that's awesome.
We all found it like very funny that I made it into their yearbook, but I didn't go to that school. So just this commitment to showing up and to being together and to staying connected, and we still make it a point of like, all right, once a month we try to get together and we try to see each other. And
that's amazing.
Yeah. And so to me, I think has been something where I know that my friends might not be right in front of me, but just because we're not living in the same place or we're in different seasons, even if we do live 8 minutes away, that we're not disconnected. I think I have this inherent trust that we are connected and we can stay emotionally connected. That's a big one too, of just checking in with one another. And of course, there are times where I'm like, I feel like a terrible friend, right? I've been in a busy season or I haven't been checking in as much, and so I noticed that, but it's very important to me to prioritize checking in and maintaining friendships that genuinely fill my cup, because not every friendship that I've had over the course of my life have I maintained in this way. And I have found that I have like I actually like, I tend to find myself in little groups. Like, I have this group from high school that we all, if individually might not feel as like emotionally close as some of my other friends, but as a group, like, we again all make an effort of staying connected. Same with some other college friends too. Like, we were part of a group, and that group helps helps to maintain the connection. So I think there's a consistency, right? Like a really like a thoughtful priority on my end of like, I want to stay connected to you. So I'm going to make an effort, because it all comes down to like, it has to be a shared effort. And of course there are definitely friendships where it's like, ooh, like I'm thinking of a few where it's like we were really close at certain points, let's say in high school, but oh, I feel so sad I don't know them anymore like that well. And
Yeah.
and there's something I think in some dynamics where like it's just hard to maintain that effort together, and that's okay. I've had to kind of just know and grieve some of those kind of friendships.
Mhm.
But it's, yeah, I think it's this putting in the effort but also feeling like it's being reciprocated and
Ooh,
maintained together.
yes. Yes, and
Yeah.
also you naming just recognizing, like, who you want to be intentional with, and then also recognizing that there's certain people that you friendships you might outgrow or
Yeah.
like that maybe that friendship was just meant for a
Oh,
season and then noticing that it doesn't necessarily feel as much as like I'm getting poured into or like
yeah.
we are reciprocal and that maybe then that's okay for that to end as well, but
Yeah.
prioritizing those friendships that feel really close and connected
Yeah.
and making an effort for those.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. Exactly. And yeah, so that's how it has been for me. I'm
That's
curious,
amazing.
how is it for you?
Yeah. So I don't have any friends from childhood at all.
Mm.
But I feel so like for me as a person who has been through so much trauma and has had so many attachment wounds, for me, I
Mhm.
feel like I've always had really good friendships, but I don't have that much capacity for friendships. Now, I don't know if you feel this way, but especially as I've become a therapist, like I feel like my kids need so much from me
Yeah.
emotionally. My husband and I need to connect so deeply emotionally. And then I have my cousin who lives here who we've grown up and we were always best friends growing up and everything. And I have my sister and so I feel like emotionally, I just feel like I don't have a ton to give to a friendship.
Yep.
And as I get older, I do feel like it's harder to develop deep relationships just because I don't have the time or the capacity to pour into those relationships, you know?
Yep.
So I think it has been a hard season for developing new relationships.
Yeah.
And
Yes.
I think it's hard when you move around quite a bit or you don't take
Hmm.
a conventional lifestyle. So for instance, I went to college later. I don't have the college friends that you would have typically gotten. And then my husband and I moved so many different times. And so I
Right.
think it's kind of hard to stay connected to those friendships. So
Yeah.
most of the friends that I have that I've had for years, I have one, probably my longest term friend. She lives in San Jose and I met her in my early 20s. And she's probably the one that I've stayed the most connected to. She will come and visit us in Indiana and I'll go visit her and stuff. And we are still really close, but we still don't talk very often. So
Hmm.
yeah, so I think for me it's been a lot more challenging. So sometimes
Yeah.
I see different situations and I'm like always like, okay, so is it that I don't have the ingredients or is it that I
Hmm.
don't have the skills like or I don't have the capacity? So do you know what I mean? So
Yeah.
sometimes I'm just
Right.
like I
What is it
want
about me?
this
Yes.
or I want these deep relationships, but I
Yeah.
also don't. So it's kind of like that kind of feeling
Uh-huh.
like I want to be really close with somebody, but I also don't want to be really close to somebody because I'm already really close
I've
with all
already
of these people.
spent. Yes, totally.
Totally.
Which honestly, I think I hear
Yes.
this all the time, like all the time. This is such a universal experience of I want this, and also the making friends as an adult is so hard because you're right. Every friendship that I'm like detailing here is one that was made either like in when I was
Mm,
younger, in high school, in
yes.
college, or even my
Yes.
a cappella group that I'm in. Those are or like grad school or the group that I sing in. There's
Mm.
always some sort of structure around it where the friendship could flourish because it was this dedicated time that we would spend together again and again and again, whether it was school or some sort of shared activity. Like I don't
Yes.
think I don't think I have an example of a long-term friendship outside of that because you create these conditions of seeing someone regularly that develop a strong friendship. I'm thinking actually of work when I worked at the hospital for 6 years too. Actually made some great friends
Yes.
there. But again, because we show up there every day, and that's how you get to see and get to know another. But in this season of life, we don't necessarily have that unless you have some set activity where you are seeing someone all the time. And
Yeah.
so yeah, it is so hard to make the regular consistent space for it when your space and life and kids and partners is so full. It's so hard to
Yes,
do.
because I think you're so right. I think those types of friendships really do take is consistent time together, right? Like
Mm-hmm.
those moments where you're just hanging out bored at each other's house. I just had so many more opportunities for that as a child and as a teen and as a tween.
Mm-hmm.
And in those years I depended so much on my friendships. Like it was
Yeah.
that's all I had. So I do feel like those I
Right.
needed those for those seasons. And now I just don't have as much of that. But I wasn't even thinking about my friends from grad school, which, yes, that's probably my adult friends. My
Yeah.
closest group of people are the people
Mm-hmm.
that I went through grad school with. And
Yeah.
because that's such a unique situation.
It sure is.
And
Yes.
we have just the best time together. So we
Yeah.
all just will crack up and we vary ages, but we're like all usually around, I feel like able to interact in a way our phases of life aren't that separate, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And
Right.
so I would say those are like my closest friends now, the people that I met in grad
Yeah.
school.
Right, right.
Yeah.
I wrote about my grad school experience in the book. There's kind of around like how healing happens in relationships and
Uh,
how with them that group, especially because I don't know, did you have the group ours was called group dynamics, but essentially the group therapy class where you have to
yes.
do
Yeah.
therapy on be in group therapy together essentially.
Oh, yeah. Yes.
Yeah. that
Yeah.
that was a shifting experience for me, that's for sure. And having to finally be vulnerable in a group of people who were like, there's lots of other personalities. I was still kind of in my really good girl, like I'm not going to share too much, which I mean, still is here, but to a much bigger degree. Like I was not going to share anything real. And then until one girl in the group who I'm still friends with looked at me and she's like, "Are you going to say something?" I was like, "Okay, sure." And that forced me, right? Like this group, again, it forced me to have to be more vulnerable and have to share more. And it was like such a powerful turning point, especially in the fact that, again, as a group, we maintained, a lot of connection and really just showed each other this reciprocal vulnerability of which I think is
Yes.
so needed in developing
Yeah.
meaningful friendships, is being able to do that, to show that we're going to be vulnerable together and show each other that
Yes.
back and forth, because that's actually required in a deepening friendship.
Yes. I always tell people, I don't know if you ever saw the movie 28 Days with Sandra Bullock, but she goes to rehab and I'm like, that's what grad school was like. It was like this
Yeah.
being in rehab in a way. You're just like, you're talking about all your childhood trauma, like all the
Uh-huh.
freaking time. There's somebody
Yep.
singing on a guitar. Like
Yeah.
people are just like
Yeah.
doing whatever. Like,
Oh, for sure.
and I do feel like you develop these relationships that are
Mhm.
just so special because you're all
Yeah.
sharing this experience together and you're sharing
Yeah.
your, most tender moments. And then
Yeah.
also just the vulnerability of like stepping into this work in general,
Uh-huh. Yeah. Oh,
so
totally.
yeah, I
Totally.
think that that's so important when we're thinking about developing these friendships because I think a lot
Hmm.
of people feel like is there something wrong with me, and really you have to be in a shared activity. You have to
Yeah.
be doing something side by side. If it's not a friend that you have had since childhood, you really have to be, well, one, if it is a friend you've had since childhood, you have to be really intentional. It's totally normal
Hmm.
to not feel as close. It's totally normal to feel like you're
Yeah.
both so busy, and being
Right.
intentional is what's necessary. And then two,
Hmm.
if it's not a friend you have from childhood,
Yeah.
you have to be like intentional about being involved in something where you are
Hmm.
going to have to be around these people and you have time to deepen those
Yes,
relationships.
exactly, exactly. And this is why I love something like the app Marco Polo. If you don't know what it is, it's like a video
Oh
app
yeah.
where in a group you can do videos back and forth. Two of my best friends from college, two of us live in the Chicagoland area actually, which is really nice. But one, she lives in Richmond. And we started doing this in COVID times. And we honestly, it's like we love it so much because we're all committed to it. And it's like this way of, we might not see my friend Lauren, who's in Richmond, like we might see her maybe once a year, but I don't feel any less connected to her because I feel so caught up on her life. And the fact that, again, consistently, we're talking probably like once a day or, like multiple times per week. And it's like,
Yes, I love
even if we
that.
don't have this shared place to go together, like actually this app is like an easy way to have this shared space of like, we're all committed to keeping each other updated, which is like just it's so nice. And I so look for it. Like I just, again, feel so like I haven't lost any time with them because we're intentionally stay connected in this way. And I've heard of other people that use it and feel the same. It like offers that space, which is really nice too.
Yes.
And something interesting I noticed too, I have actually found, and this might also explain kind of my friendship patterns, is that I don't have any sisters and I don't have any cousins, like female cousins close in age and or close enough in age to have grown up close. And so I think I have found that I actually feel I'm often drawn to other friends. A lot of my closest friends don't have sisters. Many of us either
Interesting.
like,
Okay.
yeah, or just only girls in various, configurations. And so that is interesting.
Yes.
I think there is something
That
in
is
that
interesting.
because
Yeah.
didn't get that at home, right? Like didn't have that really intentionally sought out female friendship outside of my home because it just didn't have that example there. And I feel like I've noticed that actually. And I feel like I've noticed that any friends that have sisters may have a different experience of friendship than friends that don't. Like, I don't know. It's something that
Mhm.
I've just kind of noticed too, or I see, and I've talked to my other friends who are just only girls, and we all kind of are like, yeah, we it's interesting. We share that experience that it's extra important to
Oh,
focus on
yes.
friendships in that way.
That
Not that
makes
you
so
can't
much
be friends with
sense.
your brother or, friends with a male
Mhm.
cousin or anything like that, of course, but there is something in the girlhood kind of
Ooh,
experience.
yes. Yes.
Yeah.
So true. So true. Oh my
Hmm.
gosh. I love how our experiences are on such different ends of the spectrum, but also just are helpful for anybody maybe
Yeah.
who is interested in whatever we're talking about. I feel like we kind of have just like such a varied lens between the two of us, you know?
Yeah. Right. Right. For someone to
Yes.
connect with. I'm curious
Yes.
your thoughts on female friendships and for someone that has more of a mother wound. I'm curious
Ooh.
your thoughts on that.
Oh, that's such a good question. I will say that female friendships have always felt hard for me as I've gotten older. It's so funny though, because like I said, as a young girl, as a child, and then like even moving through my teens, early adulthood, I never really felt like it was that big of a challenge for me. But I don't know. Ever since I had kids and got married, I feel like it's been more challenging.
Yeah.
And once I became more aware of the dynamic that was going on between my mom and I started feeling
Hmm.
like, oh, like this comes in. I think I'm really worried about someone not liking me because if
Right.
I am successful or someone not
Right.
liking me or just for any reason, right? Like
Uh-huh.
I've always noticed there being some friction between me and female bosses that like has been a regular pattern that I've seen pop up and just a lot of hesitancy to be vulnerable with women in general as they start to
Hmm.
get close to me. Can I trust you? Can I share
Yeah.
this with you? Or are you going to use it against
Uh-huh.
me? So the thing that I mess up on or that I feel vulnerable about, can I share that? But then can I also share like my wins with you? Or are you going to be kind of like, mm, not happy for me? So I
Critical.
feel like,
Yeah.
yeah. And I think I see that pattern come up a lot with clients that I work with that have mother wounds as
Yeah.
well, just
Yep.
this feeling of, I guess, like the luxury of walking into a room and just like feeling like everyone there likes you, or the
Hmm.
luxury of feeling like everybody wants the best for you. That's just never been a
Yeah.
state of mind that like naturally comes to me. Something that
Right.
people that I have been in relationships with before, like friendships and things, have told me is just like, I just wish you would give me the benefit of the doubt, you know?
Yeah.
And it's like, ah. Yeah.
Mhm.
Guilty,
Right.
because I do not give the benefit of the doubt. You know what I mean? Like, I'm
Sure.
like,
Right.
ooh, okay, I could see that. I kind of went in hard,
Yeah.
like you were coming after me
Right.
and you meant to attack me, but maybe you actually didn't. Maybe that's just already what my nervous system is just racing for. So,
Exactly. Right.
yeah, I
Yeah.
think that there could definitely be a connection between a mother wound and
Mhm.
that. Yeah, I wouldn't have
Totally.
even like named that before, but yes,
Yeah.
totally. What about you? What do you think?
It's something that I've definitely noticed. I've noted, and again, in noticing a difference in thinking about the close friends that I have, and even their relationships with their moms, and again, like I am so grateful for my relationship with my mom and how protective it has been, and how there is a deep security with her. And so I think that actually goes back to, I think, supporting me and feeling very, not having walls up in friendships, actually kind of expecting, like, yeah, I can connect with you, great, like I don't have, I'm, again, it's such a gift to not have that voice
Ooh,
in the back of my
yes.
head that's bracing for, like, well, when are you going to criticize me or this or that? I don't have that. And I know, again, know that is such a gift. And granted, well, like, we got a lot of stuff on the on the father wound side to make up for it, but that in itself, like that experience of attachment to a maternal figure, can really, really impact expectations stepping into
Mm.
friendships. And I've seen it in others who I know have had like deep mother wounds, and that I've noticed that female friendships tend to be really hard, and have so
Yeah.
much compassion for that, because of course they are. There's so much extra work that has to go in building trust,
Mhm.
like,
Yeah.
obviously, without a doubt, it's not easy at all.
And a lot of my childhood friends, like my childhood best friend in the whole wide world, oh my gosh, like we're no longer friends anymore. But I do recognize that a lot of the friendships that I would have were abusive in different ways or would
Mm.
mimic the different dynamic that my mom and I had. And that's coming from my side too. I would definitely have toxic behaviors as well,
Yeah.
you know? So
Yeah.
but just
Right.
definitely looking back could easily see how dynamics were very enmeshed, codependent, and
Mhm.
then had some really unhealthy dynamics going on.
Yeah.
But still, that
Totally.
friendship at that time was life-giving and totally got me through so much trauma and so many different things with attachment. But so
Yeah.
I think just as you heal and as you unlearn some of those other difficult dynamics, sometimes thinking about friendship and like going
Mhm.
deeper just feels so overwhelming. It's just like, ugh, that just feels like so much.
Really
You know,
hard.
we're starting from
Yes.
scratch. We're going back to the drawing board over here. And I really don't,
Uh-huh.
it's like, ugh, to have to
Right.
work through relational dynamics with a friend. I've already got to work through relational dynamics with my
Oh,
kids. I got to
there's
work through
so
relational
much.
dynamics with my siblings, my husband. It's
Uh-huh.
just, yeah. Yeah.
Right.
So
Totally.
totally.
And one of my favorite things to name, because this actually has come up, I feel like, with many clients lately, is like that feeling of, I'm doing so much work in my romantic relationship or with my kids or this or that. And so sometimes that does leave friendships to go to the wayside, in terms of like, we're just maybe going to leave it where it is, and then maybe it might fizzle, or, which is so hard. And I'll always say, what might not feel like as much work is just the naming of, like, I've noticed that you've been more distant lately, or I noticed that I've been more distant lately. I want to name that, just naming the dynamic at play, that there's, again, maybe it's just been some
Yes.
distance, and that as a stepping
Yes.
stone in to say, hey, why don't we connect, or why don't we get a coffee, why don't we,
Oh, yeah.
which and with friendships, there's not as much of a playbook to have the really, like, doing the, what a romantic couple might do, like your couples therapy, really intensely learning each other's inner children and understanding how to work together. That doesn't always apply, or we don't do it in the same way for friendships. But again, the relational dynamics are still there. And so it's just figuring
Yeah.
out, in which way can you say, like, hey, let's name that this isn't working for us, and, maybe checking in with what each other needs and how can we make it better going forward. And ideally, the friends that are meant to stay with you are the ones that are going to meet you there and say, yeah, okay, let's work on that too, because this friendship is meaningful.
Yes. Oh, so true.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah.
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 But I know, it's
Okay.
friendships are so hard. It is a hot topic, truly, and one that I think I'm
Yes.
glad that we're talking about, because I think there's even so many more layers inside of it. And
Mhm.
I wrote about friendships in the book too. Just again, given that
Oh,
it's
oh,
our inner child stuff is so present in friendships,
yes,
without a doubt.
yes.
And I'm thinking of even the part of me, like the inner child part, that was so worried that my friends would get mad at me, like how I had to deal with that for so long. And I'm just very lucky that we all just kind of naturally grew and moved and evolved in a similar way, where maybe some earlier dynamics that played out kind of subsided as we all grew, which is, I know, not always the case. But it's so, yeah, so important to check in with how is your inner child showing up in your friendships, and what kind of role do you play, and what do you need, right? Because it's always, you're allowed to have needs with your friends too.
Yes. Ah, so freaking important. And also just
Yeah.
naming that the story that is coming up for you might not be the story that's the truth. Like, I know that
Mhm.
as someone who, does have a mother wound and in a lot of my female friendships, and just that feeling of like, they probably aren't happy for me, or they probably are distancing themselves because of this or
Yeah.
that, that's not always the
Hmm.
truth. And that we really
Right.
have to like acknowledge that and name it as it comes up, because it really can
Hmm.
create a chasm of distance.
Yeah, totally. Right. And being able to own it. Hey, this is my inner child wound always tends to
Mm,
think this. So I want to check in with you on it. Is this
yeah.
playing out right?
Oh,
Or no? Like, it's just nice to be able to like
yes.
bring it in that moment, and yeah, not just assume it as truth, but
Yes.
check in on it. So
Yes.
yeah, there's a
Yeah.
lot
Okay.
there.
Yeah. But I'm going to kind of segue to the next
Yes.
topic. What do you
Yeah,
think?
and maybe knowing that, actually, I can't believe
I was
we're already
just
at 50
thinking that.
minutes. So maybe should we just check in, is there a song? And I think this can be a
Yeah.
continuing topic that we talk about, of how music is impacting us. Is there a song that feels like you today? Feels like, if you were to pick the one that just you're most drawn to today, that, like, you're most resonating with, is there a specific one?
Oh. Hmm. You just think about that.
Mhm.
I'm trying to think of
Or
what
is
I've
there an
been listening
artist, right?
to
Is there an
lately.
artist that you're feeling, that you are feeling drawn to? If you were to pull up your Spotify and listen to someone on a run, who would you pull up?
Yeah, so, well, on runs, I always listen to gangster rap, okay? That's just a given.
Yes, I
I'm
love
sorry, but
it.
I just don't feel like that's you have to listen to something like hardcore, okay? There
Uh-huh,
has to be a
uh-huh.
swear word every other sentence, but
Yes.
no, but I have been listening a lot to Noah Khan and his new
Mhm.
album, and I think it's very interesting because it
Yeah.
is called The Great Divide, and when I hear certain songs, I do think of childhood friendships. And I do
Mm.
think of just this feeling of what if something would be different, or what it would be
Yeah.
like if some of that trauma hadn't impacted my friendships. And if it hadn't impacted,
Yeah.
just like what would life be now if certain people were still like, what would life be like now if certain people were still in it, you know?
Yeah. Oof.
Yeah.
So it kind of
Yeah.
hits the grief, the
Ah,
ambiguous grief
yeah.
of grieving
Yeah.
relationships, that people that are still around but never got the
Yeah.
chance to develop the friendship further. Yeah.
Yeah,
Oof.
absolutely. Yeah, so I feel
Totally.
like I've been listening to that a lot,
Uh-huh.
and even just like what he writes about and what he thinks about just in thoughts of my own family and estrangement and things like that,
Hmm.
and
Oh,
just how
yep.
I think I read that. I don't know if this is right, so I don't know, but I'm pretty sure I read that his album was basically a communication that he would say if he had the opportunity that he never got a chance to say to some of these
Uh-huh.
relationships. And so I don't know, that really resonated with me.
Yep.
Yeah.
Agreed. I mean, I'm right there with you. And Noah Khan is the one in our household that we we are all listening to. My husband is the biggest
Mm.
Noah Khan fan. He actually went to Fenway a
Oh,
few weeks ago.
yeah.
Yeah,
How
got
was
to
that? You
go.
told
Oh,
me that he was going
he had a blast. He had a great time. I think was so happy to be there, and yeah, got to hear his favorite song, which was one of an older song that Noah sings, called "Godlight," that he doesn't really play. And so the fact that he picked it for that show was really exciting and special. And yeah, and for me, I did a reel about this, but the "Willing and Able" is the song that, like, when I
Yeah.
first listened to it in the car, I'm just like, oh, this, like, it totally spoke to the experience of just this, like, want to talk about this, right? I want to work on this, but not feeling like maybe the other person can totally do it. And can we connect? Can we deepen this? And just the question around it of do we address it or not? Just felt like, ooh, totally mirrors like the family experience that I've had. So that one really, really hit home. And then did you watch his documentary
I
on
haven't.
Netflix? Ooh, it's a good one.
No.
You should watch.
Okay, did it
Yeah.
just come out or
I think it came out like right before the album came out.
Oh, okay.
But what I loved about that, it actually kind of brings us back around it to, he speaks about what it was like for his family first he speaks to the complicated dynamics of his family, but speaks to how it was for them to process his first album getting obviously so huge and speaking to family stuff, and how he holds a lot of guilt for not talking to them about it beforehand, not telling them that this is used, like referring to them, but not necessarily feeling like they didn't have a choice in it coming out that way, which I was like, ooh, that like resonates to this experience, right? Of us sharing with a lot of people our own personal experiences and how like some of the stress that I have felt around it. And so seeing that play out, I was like, whoa, I've never seen that before. Like this exact feeling that I have around, ooh, is it too much? How are they going to feel me talking about family stuff? So it was actually really validating to watch it in that way for me.
Ooh, I'm gonna have to watch that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I would recommend
Yeah.
it.
Willing and Able is definitely a song that stands out to me too.
So
Totally.
good.
100%.
So
It makes me think of my mom. I'm like, oh my
Mm-hmm.
gosh.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Yep.
So good.
Yeah.
That was like my drive around and cry song for a while.
Totally. Right there. Right there with you. Yep.
Yes.
Totally.
Okay. Okay, so what's saving your life this week? Should we say that?
Yeah,
Or?
let's do it.
Yeah.
What is saving your life this week? Oh, this is a tough one. Do you have yours?
Like trying to think on it for a second. Yeah. What's saving my life this week? I think something that's come up for me as my brother was leaving and stuff is just the relationships that I do have with my siblings. And I've just been really taking that in. And my brother's had a really, really hard year this past year. And it was just really good to see him. And I think just seeing him be a dad to his girls has just, been really saving my life. And just getting to today, he went home last night and he's like, can you call me on your way to work? And so just we called and he just wanted to tell me about something. He's like, I had to tell somebody about this. And I do feel incredibly blessed to have the relationship that I do with my siblings and to get to just enjoy them and to live my life with them. And I think it's probably the greatest gift like our parents gave us. So cheesy, but so yeah, I'm really like, that's been saving my life lately. Like we can get through these hard things and we have each other.
You have each other. That's the best. Oh, that melts my heart. That is so sweet. I love it. So good. I guess on my end, I'll say I feel like my son this week especially, I think there's something happening where obviously he's aware that baby's coming soon, and like he's extra snuggly, extra mom kind of feeling, which I actually saw something that said as a mom prepares to give birth, like you release more oxytocin, and so it your toddler might feel more connected, or they say clingy, but I'm like, oh, no, I'm just gonna soak this up every snuggle. He's just at such a sweet age, and so grown up though too, like doing so much on his own. I don't know, just we've had a lot of fun sweet moments, so I'm like really 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 soaking that up, especially in the preparation, which I'm sure we could talk about on another episode, of the grief, of the anticipatory grief that I feel of having to like share my time, right? To share space when it's just been him for so long. So yeah, so that our connection and having this special time with him this summer is I think what it is for me this week.
That's so precious. Oh my gosh, I love that. And I do feel like we could have a whole nother episode because I do feel like that grief that comes up when, just when the baby does first come. I wasn't anticipating that. And it's just it's so beautiful and it's amazing. And there's also that grief of, oh, I can't be with him right now,
Right. And I'm sure that brings up inner child wounds, like feeling like I can't, be 100% attuned all the time. So maybe we'll bookmark that for another one.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Okay. Well, it's been so great talking with you as always.
You too, as always. And I hope you have a great rest of your week. And we'll look forward to being back here next week.
Yep. See you then.
All right, thanks. Bye.